talk to you about your story this week called A Life in the Woods. This is in your Floppy book, located on pages 51 through 53. In the story, we're introduced to a man named Henry David Thoreau, and he is an aspiring writer who has a real love for nature. He has a problem in the story where he doesn't really have a quiet place to write, and he gets kind of writer's block and doesn't know how to start. He runs into a friend named Emerson who happens to own a cabin on Walden Pond. He lends the cabin to Thoreau, who is really inspired when he gets there and writes an entire book about nature. The genre of this story is narrative nonfiction. And let's break that apart. Narrative, because someone is telling a story about Thoreau, and nonfiction, because he is a real person. Genre is just a really big word for what type of writing it is. One of the comprehension strategies for this story that you'll see in your floppy book questions and then also on your PWA is to ask and answer questions. And the way you do that is you use text evidence to guide you towards the right answer. I'm going to read aloud the first paragraph from page 51. Henry David Thoreau raised his pen to write, but the clatter of guests in the next room filled his ears. He stared at the page. Concord, 1841, was all that he had written. How could he write a book with such noise in his family's house? Thoreau headed outside, shutting the door with emphasis. He would have to find a place of his own. So we may be questioning how Thoreau gets to the cabin in the first place. Well, it is because he has a problem. So to answer the question, why did Thoreau have to find a place of his own, I can use text evidence from that first paragraph. I know that his current home is noisy. I also know he's having a hard time writing. Both of those pieces of evidence work together to lead to the fact that he needs silence to write, which leads him to the cabin on Walden Pond. The comprehension skill for this week is cause and effect. Cause and effect is sprinkled throughout this story, and I look for signal words. Something happens, so this happens. Something happens, therefore this happens. Something happens because this happens. Those signal words like so and therefore and because can signal us or have a little red flag saying, hey, here's a cause and effect relationship. There was a good cause and effect relationship on page 51. It says, because he and Thoreau shared the same interest in nature, Emerson decided to let Thoreau use part of his land. So the cause is what happens first. Thoreau and Emerson share a love for nature. So then I can plug that back in with the word because. Emerson and Thoreau share a love for nature. What occurs because of that? Emerson allows him to use his cabin. Cause and effect are interchangeable. You can say the cause leads to the effect, or you can look at the effect and say, what made that happen? Going back and forth between that relationship. I hope this helped with your comprehension of the story, and I'll see you next time.